Okay, today we're going to start the men's group today with a little disclaimer because there have been some questions about the men's group and affiliation with various churches and stuff, and so we're not affiliated with any church. Let me make that perfectly clear, because the material that we go over in our men's group is not material that churches want to hear right now. The time will come when they will, though. So that being said, also some of the material that we're going over is some pretty rough stuff. Along with the book that we're going over and the Bible, it's the meat of the Word. So we would suggest that kids 14 and under or 13 and under, this is really not in their area, their wheelhouse. 14 and up, I think you'd be just fine. So if you want to show this to kids 14 and up, that's fine. There's no foul language whatsoever. This is a Christian men's group, but once again, we're not affiliated with any organized church whatsoever. But one day, eventually, our group will be welcome to in a church, and the information that we are exposing is going to be welcome, because whether they want to pay attention to it right now, it's coming. So that being said, let's get started, guys.
Yep.
So
that's good.
I'm Brian, by the way.
I'm Dave. Ed.
And this is the Watchmen Band of Brothers and Things the Church Doesn't Tell You. So anyways, where we left off last time was the section of Russ Dizdar's book, The Black Awakening. And we were in the part called Time Travel to the Past. And I'm going to back up a little bit so these overlap with the last video. But it started at the end of it here. We were on page 60 of The Black Awakening. And started with Ephesians 2. And I'm going to let Dave look that up. But I'm also going to read it. And Dave's just going to follow along to make sure we're biblically accurate. So I'm going to go ahead and start reading, Dave, while you get that pulled up. Is that okay?
Ephesians 2?
Yeah, Ephesians 2.
All right.
In which you used to live when you followed the ways of this world, and of the ruler, prince of the kingdom, power of the air, dense atmosphere surrounding the earth, the spirit who is now at work in those who are disobedient. Referring to this prince, and behind the coming Homo Satanis, dark prince, Paul E. Bilheimer says it so well in his book Destined to Overcome, and the book Destined to Overcome is page 21, and you can get that on Amazon.com. The constant and fiendish disruption of the human social order is explained only by the mass activity behind the scenes of a vast, well-organized host of wicked spirits under the control of their master prince. That's the devil. So many people want a leader that will unite nations, peoples, and their kings. Grant R. Jeffrey, a brother in the Lord who has since passed away, gives an insight that is felt by millions the world over. Here in his work, The Prince of Darkness, page 214, and you can get the book Prince of Darkness off of Amazon as well. Grant writes, many seek a messianic leader who will provide answers, a perfect setting for the emergence of the Prince of Darkness. Now that's that. I'm going to skip over because we already read all of this, but I wanted to give you guys an attachment to the last video. So finally, at the end of this, on page 62 of The Black Awakening, it says, So as we begin this venture and reveal the rise of the satanic super soldiers, the bloody chaos that will erupt, and the spiraling nature of this current social order that's going down the drain, I hope we can take a glimpse of the many factors that are included. This opening chapter is a foundation that pulls the past, the future, and the present together. Each reader will have to make choices up to this point. You already have, and I'm sure you will make more. I can only press on you the need to hear Psalm 2 and see Revelation 19:19, and then take a look at where we are between the two. You want to pull up Psalm 2 real quick, brother? And I'm going to go ahead and continue reading while he pulls that up, and then he's going to read Psalm 2. I think we are massively closer to Revelation 19:19, by the way. And finally, here's a question. Evelyn Christensen asked almost 20 years ago in her extremely helpful book, Battling the Prince of Darkness. It's out of print, so I'm sorry. You might find it in a used bookstore. It's called Battling the Prince of Darkness, and that's page 51. Why bother to spend time and effort getting people transferred from one spiritual kingdom to another? She immediately answers this way, because the consequences are so terrifying. This too is my answer for why I am writing this book, Pastor Russ writes, The Black Awakening, Revelation 19, 19, and 20, because the consequences are so terrifying. What does Psalm 2 say, brother?
Psalm 2 is, why do the heathen rage and the people imagine a vain thing? The kings of the earth set themselves, and the rulers take counsel together against the Lord and against his anointed, saying, let us break their bands asunder and cast away their cords from us. He that sitteth in the heavens shall laugh, the Lord shall have them in derision. Then shall he speak unto them in his wrath, and vex them in his sore displeasure. Yet I have set my king upon my holy hill of Zion. I will declare the decree. The Lord hath said unto me, Thou art my son, this day I have begotten thee. Ask of me, and I shall give thee the heathen for thine inheritance, and the uttermost parts of the earth for thy possession.
I think that pretty well knocks it out right there.
Yeah.
You know. And then we're on chapter 2. This is the introduction to the Black Awakening. It says, I have heard the demons scream again and again. They know what is coming, judgment for them. So now they fight before that dreadful day. They have to. They have, are, and will use human lives to accomplish their agenda. And this includes the Black Awakening and their new order. The guide warned that we would have to work very carefully in order not to alarm the enforcers. They might kill in order to maintain the secrecy. And that's page 193, a book called Satan's Children. I know it's still in print. Amazon again. They were part of a new breed of warriors, the products of a top secret program to train the perfect soldier or spy. They began their careers while still in elementary school. Prologue to the book Secret Weapons. It's another one still in print. Too many Christians, not enough lions. Quote from the bumper sticker. We are the legions who will rule the earth. And this is from a chosen one, folks. SRA, MPD, Satanic Ritual Abuse, Multiple Personality Disorder said that. But this is a true statement. There are too many Christians and not enough lions today. You got a lot of people in church, man. And I'm a Christian. When they get outside the church, where's your roar? You know, where's your roar? How many men of God do we see sitting in church?
Yeah.
And we're going to get into a little bit of free form, just a little bit, guys, okay? You know, like one comment each.
Sure.
But I'm going to say this. How many times do we see men in church that are bold as lions in church, but when they get outside of church, they're a whimpering kitty cat?
Yeah.
You know? You guys want to add there?
No.
Dave, anything you want to add to?
No, that was it.
What you practice in church in the pews, you got to take it out on the street.
Yeah.
Boom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You gotta,
That's
what you got to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's nail on the head right there.
Yeah, you're not, this popped in my head, we're not necessarily saving people in church, because most people in church are there, they already know when they're getting saved,
Yeah.
or they're already saved. It's the ones on the street that need saved.
Yeah.
That's
You got
why
it.
you got to act like, you know,
Act like you're doing
you got to
church.
be a Christian all the time.
Yeah.
You don't act like being a Christian. You know, you got to be a Christian.
Yeah.
All the time.
Yeah, you either are a Christian all the time or you're not.
Yeah.
Again, and then
In at work.
if you have somebody new that comes into the church, the first time there, or first time at that church, they're there. They're looking for something.
They already got the hard part that's going.
Yeah.
They got into the
That
door.
first step.
That's the hard
Yep.
part.
Yeah.
And they're looking for salvation. How are you going to treat that person when they're inside the door?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you going to reach your hand out, shake their hands, welcome them, and tell them that God loves them?
Yeah.
Jesus died on the cross for you.
Yep.
He loves you.
And
this is your day if you want salvation.
Yeah.
Give yourself to Christ.
You can't do
it.
that.
Yeah.
And then 2 hours later, when you guys leave and cut him off going into the Circle K because you got to get your soda.
And honk and flip them off.
And flip him off.
Right.
yeah. Well, he's like, what? That guy just talked me into this, and now he's doing that.
Yeah, and a good story on that
There's
was...
plenty of that out there in the world. We've tried to steer them away from that.
Yeah, and a good story on that is there was a story of a church that hired a new pastor. And the new pastor showed up, but he didn't show up the way everybody would expect, wearing his suit and tie and ready to preach. He showed up at the church, and he was dressed like a bum.
Yeah.
Absolute bum. I mean, he was dirty clothes.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
You know, and he just disheveled looking. And
Sitting out in front of the building.
sitting out front of the building, and people ignored him.
Yeah.
People don't get near him. People pulling their kids away from him, and people were just really unkind.
Yeah.
He was
hugged his neck when he had a tie on, but when he had a dirty jacket
Yeah.
on.
Well,
Get away from that guy.
Yeah, I'm getting to that. But he came in, and they seated him in the very back of the church, and nobody wanted to sit near him. And directly one of the deacons of the church, I believe it was, or one of the elders of the church got up, and they introduced a new pastor, whereupon this homeless man gets up, walks up to the front of the church, and introduces himself. He's their new pastor, and he takes all the stuff off, revealing who he is.
Yeah.
And then he delivers a sermon, whereupon half the church was weeping.
Yeah.
Would half your church weep at how you've treated someone new to your church? I've seen churches with cliques. I've seen churches where you have only two groups of people who are absolutely in control. I mean, ironclad control of everything. And somebody comes in the church that's new, and they look at them like, well, this is our club.
Yeah.
They treat it like it's their club.
Their club.
It's not your club.
Yeah.
And it's not about you.
Yep.
Okay? It's not about you, preacher in the pulpit. Look at me. It's not about you leading the worship group. Look at me. I'm in control, and if you don't toe the line, you're out.
Yeah.
No, it don't work that way.
Because Satan is watching that.
Oh yeah, he
he's
loves that.
Go to those people and start whispering in their ears.
Oh yeah,
and
yeah.
it's like, oh well, my side, we wouldn't do that.
He's going to wait until
We've got to ostracize that person because they don't act like us.
That's how the devil works. He's going to wait until you're most weakest, most vulnerable moment, and he's going to pounce.
Yep. And what did Jesus call those people? He calls them Sadducees and Pharisees and vipers.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's what he calls them.
Yeah. Sitting in the corner with their.
If you've experienced that in a church,
I'm fasting.
and you're a born again believer in Christ, and you love the Lord, but you've experienced this in church, Perry Stone writes a good book, and it's about the goats. You can go to Perry Stone's website and just look up perrystone.com, and you can go to his website, and it's a book about goats and dealing with goats in the church. Because guess what, folks? There's two classes of people in the church today. There's goats and there's sheep. There's religious and there's Christians. You can spot the religious Christians real quick because they look down their nose at you.
Yeah.
Okay? They treat you like you don't belong. They act like you're not there. They act like they're better than you when you're not. Because Jesus said it best. The first should be the last and the last should be the first. He said, be a servant to all.
Yep.
They've lost sight of that.
What that means is it's a level playing field. No one above the other. That's it.
Yeah, it's like King Arthur's round table, man.
Yeah.
All men are equal.
Yeah.
All men are equal.
That's why the table was round.
You got it.
No one sitting at the head of the table.
And everybody had an equal say.
Yeah.
Okay? So, but continuing on, this is what was said, and as far as that, we are the legions who will rule the earth, chosen one. This is what was said by the chosen one that was on the floor leg, chained and handcuffed. It was a German-speaking sub-personality who was charged with demonic powers and screaming the words. He knew who I was, this is Pastor Dizdar writing this, and knew that I knew what he was. He was and still is a super soldier, a chosen one, active yet waiting. He and many others are specially selected, highly trained people who consider themselves superior to us, regular, mundane human beings. One of his inner, created, programmed sub-personalities charged with a hate you could feel, and that dark force, which has become so familiar, attacked me and then fought with the police officers. When he was finally cuffed and on the floor, unable to harm anyone, he lifted up his head and in a deep German accent and demonically charged voice spoke these words. There were many in the room watching and listening when he rose up, and they were all taken aback when he growled, "We are the legions who will rule the earth." The officers had had enough after that and just lifted him and carried him to the police car and took him to the local hospital for a psych evaluation. I will tell you the whole story of this event later in this book. It is the coming future and very shocking to say the least. He is not the only one who has made reference to the coming chaos and the goal of bringing the Antichrist to power, the coming Homo Satanus. He is also only one of the few who have attacked me and sought to harm me. Let me tell you now, They are very fast, furious, and will take most people by surprise. He said again, we are the legions that will rule the earth. I have met with many of these chosen ones and have interacted with hundreds of their inner subalter personalities. I have listened to many of those inner purposely created and hidden personalities tell the story of the glories of the coming man, the Antichrist. And the one they say will rule the new age, bring a new order, and build a military such as the world has never seen. For what? They know very well. Once again, Revelation 19:19, people. Who are these chosen ones? Where did they come from, and what will they do? Why do they look forward to a day of great anarchy and chaos? And why do their makers look forward to the day of Armageddon? Again, Revelation 19:19, people. These questions and all their implications will be unfolded in the chapters to come. These super soldiers are chosen ones, one of a number of titles or designations given them by those who made them. They have been and are chosen for Satan and the coming rule that will be manifested through their glorious superhuman leader. Their main job is one that may be very close at hand. They will unleash hell on earth. And let me tell you, all of those trained and demonically charged inner personalities can talk about the coming chaos they call the Black Awakening. We're going to stop there for a little more open discussion, I think.
Sure.
And
tell everybody why Satan is doing this in getting super soldiers.
well, it goes back to the days of Noah. I mean, Jesus said this when the disciples asked him, Lord, what will be the sign of your coming? He started with this, and it was a hint, as it was in the days of Noah. Well, what was going on in the days of Noah? When God created man on this earth, and then man fell, for Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden, it all started because sin and death entered the world. And that gave license to the enemy, who already had a deficit because he had lost a war in heaven. He had fallen with 1/3 of the angels. Yeah. So he's got a deficit, 2-to-1 deficit. So his initial attempt before the flood of Noah was to create giants, was to create ungodly things on this earth. If you take a look at the book of Enoch,
building his army.
Yeah, in the book of Enoch, Enoch talks about how the watcher angels that had fallen at Mount Hermon. By the way, we'll get to that in a minute. Mm-hmm. They chose 200 from every species for what's called miscegenation. Now, to explain miscegenation, that means to have relations with. Yeah, they were crossbreeding, cross genetics. And if you take a look at mythology, you see talk of centaurs, minotaurs, and all these things that are out here.
Half bull, half human, half horse.
Yeah, and I believe these legends were actually based, in fact, on what was going on in the days of Noah. Well, the same trick that he played then, he's still doing now, except for now we're getting tales of little gray aliens. We're getting tales of lizard-like people. Yeah. The reptilians, they call them. And we're getting these chosen ones, these satanic ritual abuse, multiple personality disorder people. And it can happen with people at just about any age range. But they like to start with children. Yeah. Because children are innocent, and the devil don't like innocence. He don't like purity. And a child is pure. They're innocent. Yep. Mm-hmm. Okay? So what he does is they get these children, they get these people, and they put them through some of the most horrific things possible. And what it does is it causes a schism in their personality. They develop another personality to protect them from what's going on. Yeah. They then go through rituals and demonically charge that personality. So they can have one extra personality to 100. Yeah. And each one has a different job. Yeah. And the day's coming when they're going to get activated. This is the new army of the devil, along with the so-called UFO phenomenon, okay? And we'll get into some L.A. Marzulli stuff at some point in the future, but that's demonic too. They're not aliens from Alpha Centauri. It's extra-dimensional. And heaven's a completely different dimension from ours. Yeah. So when it says that Satan was cast out of heaven with 1/3 of the angels, they weren't cast to earth yet. In the Bible, he's called the prince of the power of the air. Yeah. He rules the air around us, but he's active in our world right now. But there's coming a point And Revelation 19:19 is one good pointing factor, but there's several in Revelations where it talks about eventually he's going to be cast to earth. And years ago, back in the 80s, there was a rock group. Dave, you'll know them. Iron Maiden.
Oh, yeah.
And they had a song called 666.
Number of the beast.
The number of the beast.
Yep.
And it starts with a quote from Revelations of all things.
Yeah. Woe to you, O heaven and earth.
Yeah. Woe to you, O heaven and earth.
The devil knows the time is short.
Yeah. And he's come down.
Yeah.
Well,
It is a human number.
yeah. What is the number of man? It is a human number.
666.
666. Yeah. So these things are coming. And unfortunately for a lot of people in the church today, they're being taught we're going to escape everything. We're not going to have to witness anything. Stop teaching that because it's incorrect teaching.
Yeah.
Because we're already witnessing it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
If we look at our streets today in America, Antifa, and it's been proven, you move up higher up in the Antifa, and what do? You get Satanists, you get Luciferians.
Yeah.
And these people, a lot of the lower level soldiers, I believe some of them are innocent and think they're doing,
Yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah.
but there are some who are not.
There's something not. Yeah.
And they're all wearing black, people.
And masks.
And masks and everything. I mean, seriously? You see all these organizations out here and the riots and the social disorder that's going on and the attacks on people just for wearing a hat.
Yeah.
And on top of that, I've been watching, and there's a lot of attacks going on churches now. Not just Catholic churches. In Los Angeles, there was a Pentecostal church that was attacked. They came to go to church that Sunday morning, and the church had pentagrams painted all over it. Hail Satan. It's getting worse.
Yeah.
It's a build-up to what's coming, the Black Awakening.
Yeah.
And these super soldiers being activated. So...
Yeah, because Satan, he knows the Bible back and forth.
Oh, yeah.
He's read the ending, and he's he's going to lose.
He knows it better than a lot of pastors do.
He's trying what
harder.
he can do to change that.
He's going to
doesn't think it's
He's going to have that one
stone.
last push at the end.
Yeah.
To try, but he will not.
Yeah.
People.
But if
we have to emphasize this over and over again. He will not win.
No.
Yeah. No. But the more we sit and not do anything, the more his chances are of winning.
Right.
The more we're focused in sitting in our
four
four walls of our building we go to once a week, some of us.
Oh, I'm
some
good.
people.
I don't need to worry about my neighbor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm good. I'm going to make it to heaven.
Yeah.
You know what? Or this is my clubhouse. Like I said, this is my clubhouse. And if you come into my clubhouse, you play by my rules. No, we play by God's rules.
Yep.
Right.
Okay? We play by God's rules. And, I've got to be honest, I have to resist a lot, and you guys know this, but I have to resist a lot calling people out.
Yeah.
And not using names. Because here's the thing. I know a lot of people out here, and some of them go to various churches in the area. And if I start calling names out, these people would know because they know I know these people. And then that would start a fight.
Yeah, and that gets off topic and off message.
Yeah, and you're not supposed to bring dissension among the body of Christ.
Yeah.
But
they know.
Yeah.
And if they're watching this, they know because it's.
It's
like
it
going. He's talking about me. I know he's talking about me.
Oh yeah,
and here's the thing. We are, and you should change what you're doing.
And if we're not, and you think we are, maybe there is something you need to change.
Yeah.
Because I said that to somebody the other day. I had a conversation with that if you have a problem with something that's being said in our men's group, then maybe there is something you need to look at.
Yeah.
Because if we're not using that name of that church or that name of that person, but you think it's directed at you, that's called the Holy Spirit.
Yeah.
Okay? And you're being convicted of what you're doing. You're being convicted of how you're doing things.
Yep.
Okay? And,
And as humans, we're all going to start doing things wrong and start doing things the way we don't. That's why we check ourselves every day.
Without knowing that right there, and good fellowship, and prayer life, and the Holy Spirit, man, you can get off path, man.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And it's easy to do, and then that's why you self-evaluate every now and again. And
or you have brothers that say, or you have a brother that says, hey, brother, I'm kind of concerned about what you've been doing lately, Having a brother that's bold enough to step up and say, hey,
love, man.
I love you, man.
That's it.
I'm concerned, So, and that's where we got to be, man. And as men, I said this when you guys got here, we cannot be afraid to confront each other when we get out off path and say, hey, brother, something's going wrong, something's wrong, and I'm concerned about you because the Bible's clear about it. And I said this, as iron sharpens iron, so doth one man sharpen another.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We got to keep each other sharp, man.
Yep.
Remember, I don't know if you guys have seen it. There was a professional boxer. His name was Earthquake Kelly, who died. He went to heaven.
Yeah.
The Lord showed him some things. And I can't remember if he actually took him to hell and showed him what hell was like.
Yeah.
And brought him back, gave him a second chance. Maybe, I think it was a different guy. Well, anyway, well, the Lord showed him some things, and this guy went to heaven. He got a glimpse of heaven. There were groups of children. He said there were separate groups. One of those groups were all aborted babies. Yeah.
It's a big group.
Yeah. And, the shedding of innocent blood in this country is just, it's been out of hand.
Oh, big time.
Since they legalized abortion, Roe v. Wade.
Yeah. Well, actually, we got some good news. I believe it was this week or last week. They managed to cut off taxpayer funding to 900 more abortion clinics.
Good.
So that means your tax dollars aren't going for the murder of babies.
Yeah.
The Satanists, when an abortion is going on in a lot of these clinics, either in the building or in a building near it, because there's a shedding of innocent blood going on, they're having satanic rituals, guys. Yeah, and this is happening while you're sitting at home watching your football game, Christian. Okay, or you're in your little clubhouse there that you don't want anybody else to be part of and stuff. While you're sitting there all comfortable and being fed like a fat little baby, and you don't go out and share it, and you're not warning anybody, this stuff's going on. Yeah. And there's this stuff that we're talking about is coming. So you know what? I'm going to say this, and I got a challenge to any man out there watching this. This men's group is not just here for us. This is not a clubhouse.
Nope.
Okay?
Open door.
It's an open door. So any guys in the Indianapolis, South Side, or if you're in Indiana, period, if you want to attend this men's group, we have it every other weekend. And what's today's date, guys?
Second.
Today's November the 2nd. So 2 weeks from now, we'll have another men's group. Okay? Every other Saturday. We do a pitch-in thing, or we take turns. Like today, I made biscuits and gravy. I don't know what Dave's bringing next time, but
it'll be a surprise.
It'll be a surprise. Okay, it's going to be a surprise.
To be announced.
To be announced. And then, of course, whatever Ed's going to bring. And then, but we have a lot of different stuff. And if we get enough people, it'll be just a pitch-in then, instead of just, taking turns. Right now, it's just the three of us. So it's not hard to do. Yeah. So, but we get enough people, it'll be a pitch-in. So we have breakfast first, a little bit of fellowship, breakfast, chat a little bit, and then we do men's group. And then every other, on the off weekend when we're not having men's group, hey, we have the garage. And we broadcast that every other weekend. So next Saturday will be the garage, me and Ed, and where it's just a free-form discussion about things that are going on. So, we got a lot of good stuff going on. And Ed will post in the description our website and everything. Yes. And once again, the disclaimer will be at the beginning of this video. So
to add to that,
go ahead.
We're looking to grow the group.
Oh, yeah.
And Brian has put the message out to you, the challenge. And if you want to join the men's group, the welcome mat is out.
Yep. Yeah. So you got to step away from the sporting events on TV.
Yeah.
So,
yes. Put down your phone.
I mean, I'm a sports guy too, but I don't have the interest that I used to have in it.
Yeah, I mean, I like racing. I like drag racing and IndyCar and NASCAR. I don't watch NASCAR as much as I used to because Earnhardt's gone, but I like drag racing and all that. But it doesn't dominate my thought.
Yeah,
exactly.
I was going to say, close the sports betting app that you have on your phone now.
Yes.
Oh dear God.
And
you've seen that advertised all over town.
The
sports betting thing.
Yeah. That concerns me because my family, and I'm not going to name any names of my family, but there are several in my family who have had problems with addiction and things, and it really concerns me.
Everyone's family.
Everyone's
family has had.
There's some form of addiction or something. But
gambling is a huge addiction.
Well, it's like I told somebody,
and it's a huge tool of Satan.
Yeah, and I was talking with a political person. I said, I'm really tired of you politicians, and I was talking in person, face to face with this guy. I was really tired of you politicians talking about how much money this is going to bring into the state. Yeah. The amount of money that this brings into the state does not even equal the amount of money it takes out.
Yeah,
it's a deficit right from the get-go.
Yeah.
and it does nothing but destroy and damage our state's economy, our country's economy, and it destroys, first and foremost, destroys families.
Yeah, families. Yeah.
Destroys people's finances, their livelihoods.
You got a guy that put places a bet on a football game. That was the guy's mortgage payment. He loses it.
Yeah, or
What happened?
I heard somebody talking about
the
this
6-year-old doesn't have breakfast.
Yeah.
Oh, you don't have food on the table for your family.
Well, I heard somebody talk about somebody out of one of these.
Lights off, you know.
There's a casino out here in Shelbyville.
Yeah.
They saw a young lady out there. I don't know what I'm going to do. I spent all my rent money.
Yeah. Here's a prime example right there.
You know, or a little lady whose son had passed away, and his wife had died before that, and all they had was their little boy, and he left life insurance and stuff, inheritance for his son, and she got into the casinos. They would come pick her up in a car. She was a high roller until she spent all the inheritance.
Yep.
It was all gone. What his dad had left for him and set up for him was destroyed. Now, not just by the casino, but because this woman had gotten addicted.
Yep.
Yes.
It was the addiction.
She made that choice to go,
Yeah.
but the casinos just fed it.
And
They
just
fed
because
it.
you can go there
The casino's in your
and
neighborhood.
leave and be totally fine, and you pay all your bills, and you're a fine, upstanding citizen.
A lot of people can't.
Your $200-300 you spent that weekend at a casino was keeping it open for the people that cannot
Thank you.
maintain themselves.
Yeah, so
It's the same as, okay, I'm good. I've never drunk and drive. I've never killed nobody. I can go into this bar and have a beer. Well, you're
keeping
keeping
that
the
bar
lights
open,
on
aren't you?
to the bar, and that guy that's down on the other side of the bar is going to go and kill your family because he was sitting there drinking.
oh yeah, as like somebody tell me one time.
That's what I said.
Well, we have some people at our church that go to the casino a little bit, but there's nothing wrong with that. Really? What about the other person in your church that's going to that casino that has a gambling addiction, and they're spending every dime they got, and they're going to lose their home?
And they're watching you go and,
Yeah.
oh, they're doing
Watching
it,
you
so I guess it's
you're
okay.
doing the same thing.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah.
You're
What kind of
You're
example?
enabling that person.
Yeah. What kind of example are people?
Yeah.
You know, hello, Christian.
Yes.
What kind of example are you putting forth? Seriously, you know, you're not going to see me in a bar. You're not going to see me in a strip club. You're not going to. Yeah, you're not going to see me going down the road. You know, I used to listen to Korn and Metallica and AC/DC, but you're not going to hear me with Metallica blaring out of my car now. Because what if that young person at a church somewhere that I've been to knows me, sees me going down the road listening to that? Oh, well, he listens to it.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
no, not happening.
Yep.
So, and you're not going to see me standing there ripping a bunch of foul language out of my mouth. It's time to quit making excuses, and it's time to start saying, you know what, I need to get myself on track, man.
Yes.
What you do, no matter what you do, somehow in some form you're going to set an example.
Yeah,
Are you doing the right one?
yeah,
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
Yep.
You know,
Which
and
example are you setting?
Yeah.
an excellent scripture verse for that is, it's better that a millstone be tied about their neck and then be cast in the deepest ocean than that they should hurt one of these little ones. Everybody thinks that just means children. Oh, no. We're all God's children.
Yeah.